Well, yeah, and I'm an everyday veterinary diagnostician. I'm not an everyday veterinary practitioner. I wouldn't pretend to know as much as many of these swine-specific practitioners do in that way. But I think for them, being aware of the different ways in which these high path strains manifest, especially some of the odd ways with nervous disease, for example, or understanding that we're seeing some of these strains cross the placenta in the second trimester, and what they may be looking at and just assuming is a breakthrough with either parvovirus or PCV2 as causing second trimester reproductive failure, they need to now consider PRRS as a possibility there. They may start seeing much larger amounts of, for example, strep suis septicemia, and it may be that they've got a new strain of PRRS that's behind that, causing strep suis, the same strain they've always had of strep suis, to be able to be more aggressive because it's the underlying PRRS virus that's reducing the number of macrophages so profoundly in the pigs that then they're able to invade. The macrophage being really the front line innate defensive cell against bacterial invasion. And so I think it's that just as they become aware and hear podcasts like this or find other information, that they kind of put these things in the shelf of their mind so that they're considering them if they see these unique things they may not have associated with PRRS virus before. I think most of them will know if they're seeing the same things they've seen, they're just worse. They'll just say to themselves, this is PRRS virus and it's more severe than I've seen before. And they may just do more of the same things or reach out to producers of vaccine and others to find solutions. But it's the odd manifestations, I think, that they need to be aware of.
Studies that we have done, we found that the vaccinated pigs had quite good protection to generally conclude, I would say, yeah. Yeah, I can probably tell you a little bit about the background of that highly virulent strain. It was a European type strain that all of a sudden popped up. That was in spring 2015, I guess. All of a sudden we heard about PRRS outbreaks occurring more and more often. And from the field, it was the feedback that they are quite severe. And then we tried to get our hands on that strain and also got it in culture. And then saw the same thing also in the lab, that it did grow to high titers. It really killed the macrophages in the lab quite fast. And then we did the first experiment, putting it back into pigs, because when you simply describe what happens in the herds, we also got that feedback from reviewers. Yeah, but as long as you don't put it back in pigs, you cannot talk about a highly virulent strain. Because in the field you have a lot of cofactors influencing the clinical picture, and simply from what happens in a farm, it's not enough to say this is a highly virulent strain. So we went back and put it into pigs and did that together with a vaccine experiment. So we had vaccinated pigs that were challenged with that strain and non-vaccinated pigs. And we did that in a reproductive model, but we also started to do it in piglets in a respiratory model. And in the end, it really confirmed that, yeah, this is a more virulent strain or a highly virulent strain, also from a classical subtype 1 Western European type, that causes more disease, more damage, causes reproductive disorders at the same level, more or less, than type 2 strains. And it can also cause respiratory disease in piglets. And with the vaccine studies that we have done, we found that the vaccinated pigs had quite good protection to generally conclude, I would say, yeah. So it's a bit different in the fetus compared to the pig after it's born. So it's not the lung that is the primary site of virus replication. So once the virus reaches a fetus, it mainly replicates within lymphatic tissues. And it's not that easy to sample a lymph node in a very small, maybe aborted autolytic fetus. So the thymus is one of the easiest and also biggest, actually, lymphatic tissues that you can sample from a fetus or from a newborn piglet. So in our studies, we always went to look at the virus in the thymus, and you can also go for the diagnostics to pool them from more than one piglet, so we usually do pools of 5.
Yes.
And then you get a quite good result that is representative for the complete litter. In the end, it's, I think, important that you take enough piglets from a litter, because that's also something that our experiments showed, that there is high variation in the number of infected fetuses per litter. So you might have litters where almost all of the piglets are infected, and it's not that complicated to actually find the virus. But on the other hand, you have individual litters where you only get 1, 2, maybe 3 fetuses that get infected. And if you have a total of 14, 15 or whatsoever. So it's really important that your number is high enough. So you're better off taking a sample out of each of the piglets and do pools, so that you get 2 or 3 pools out of the complete litter, but you cover all of them. Then your chances of actually finding the virus are way better compared to only sampling 1 or 2 of the piglets. Then you might miss the virus, although it really caused the infection and the abortion.